Good morning, my YouTube viewers. I've got a number of things that I can talk about, but I'm going to go ahead and discuss what I wanted to make a video on last night because basically I know this woman, and when I first got out of Prospect Park 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I spoke to her and I saw her I'd seen her around town. I had known of her in the mental health community for going to Compass Recovery College, and I went to a meeting at Compass Recovery College, and then I saw her there, and then I saw her on the street because she lives in my neighborhood, and I saw her at Alana House, and I was speaking to her at Alana House, and she said that she had a diagnosis of emotionally unstable personality disorder. Well, the thing about emotionally unstable personality disorder, it's pretty much used interchangeably with borderline personality disorder. They're both pretty much the same thing, but they gave her the diagnosis of emotionally unstable personality disorder. And I have met and known people with borderline personality disorder. And one of the big things about a personality disorder is a lack of empathy. And so maybe they told her she was emotionally unstable because she did have empathy. I'm not sure exactly why they said she had emotionally unstable personality disorder and not borderline personality disorder, but they're really basically the same thing. And then, so I met her, and I'd see her around. And when I met her at Alana House, she told me to take all your negative feelings and write them down, and then tear that sheet up, because apparently she had a lot of negative feelings. And then so we would see her at the bus stop because we live in the same neighborhood. So we would see her at the bus stop and say hello, this, that, and the other. Well, what happened was we started going to the Depression Expression coffee morning, and the reason why is because my boyfriend said that he was depressed because he was having to clean houses and he didn't want to clean houses. And so we went to Depression Expression because of that. And then she was going to Depression Expression. So I saw her at Depression Expression. But one time I saw her in the coffee where we're getting a coffee, and she said, "I don't feel well, I'm leaving." And I was really worried that I had said something to upset her. So I decided that I just wasn't going to say that much to her anymore because I didn't want to upset her. And then because by this time, since from 2019 to 2026, which it is now, she's been sectioned 3 times. One was because she didn't want to get a COVID vaccine. And the thing is that now they're saying how awful these vaccines are for people. And nobody ever went back to her and apologized to her that for sectioning her because she didn't want to get a COVID vaccine. And then another time she said she had a manic episode, but I don't know anything about that. I don't know what she did to cause a manic episode, but she had a manic episode. And then the third time she had done something to harm herself. So, but basically she spoke to my boyfriend more than she spoke to me because I'm busy. I have to go to work. I'm busy. I do not have time to be standing on the street talking to people. I go to the coffee mornings on Friday, and that's it. And so so she was going to the coffee morning, so we would see her in the coffee morning. So she was always, oh, well, I thought she was really nice. But then we met this guy, got dyslexia. And so she invited him to the coffee morning. So he went to the coffee morning because she invited him. So we got to know him. And then I knew that they were friends. And then he told me some things. I've since found out that he's economical with the truth. So he did tell me some things about her that I'm not sure whether they're true or not, because I do know that he lies. And so some of the things he told me may not be true. And then, but basically, she harmed herself. Okay, so she's harmed herself seriously at least 2 times that I know of, but I can't say what it is she did to protect her anonymity other than to say she harmed herself. So then she was moving on another road, another part of town. Well, basically, she'd been friends with my dyslexic friend and seen him a lot, but when she harmed herself and was moving in supported housing in another part of town, apparently she didn't want to see him. And so because she didn't want to see him, he latched on to me, and he kept on wanting to see me. Well, she was supposed to move into sheltered housing in another part of town, and that fell through. And I found out why that fell through, because I found out from somebody else that they didn't let her move in that place because they were worried she was going to kick off. And so she wasn't allowed to live there. So now she's back in our neighborhood. So that's a real strange situation, because apparently she was cleaning the house. She was getting people to help her clean the house. She was paying people to clean her house because the house had to be cleaned and ready to go for her to move into this other part of town. And now that's not going to happen. Now she's back in the neighborhood, back in her house. And so I don't know what's going to happen in that regard, because apparently she can't live on her own, because she can't be trusted to live on her own. But she's back in that house now. And so basically, when she was in another part of town, she didn't want to see my dyslexic friend. But now that she's back in our neighborhood, she wants to see the dyslexic friend. Well, we saw her a couple of weeks ago walking down the street, and we tried to say hello to her, and she just walked right past us, didn't even want to speak. And I'm like, well, what's that all about? So we found out that the reason why she did that was because she's upset that our dyslexic friend is seeing us more than he's seeing her. Well, if she had wanted to see him when she was in the other part of town, he wouldn't be this situation at all, because he'd be going to see her and not us. But she didn't want to see him, so he came to see us because he has a really bad home life and he doesn't want to be at home. So she's blaming us that we were seeing him and she wasn't seeing him. But if she made herself more welcoming, he would go see her. And then in addition to her being mad that he's going over to our house is more than he's going over to hers, she's also telling him not to talk about her to us. And I'm a bit upset about that, because about 10 years ago, I had a friend who had BPD, borderline personality disorder, and she would make all these threats to me, like, you better not tell anybody. If you tell anybody, I'll never trust you again, and stuff like that. And so, because people with BPD are very manipulative, and that just reminds me of this former friend I had with BPD. And then so, basically, now she's telling our dyslexic friend that he can't say anything about her to us. And he even showed me a message that she sent him saying, I will be very unhappy with you if you say anything about me to them. So I don't know what's going on. I'm really upset. I think she's not the friend that I thought she was, and she never wasn't a friend. She was just an acquaintance. She's actually more my boyfriend's friend than she was me. And then so she says, when my boyfriend was cleaning her house, she went and had a meeting with all these men that she had cleaning her house. And she said, oh, I want to thank everybody for helping me, but especially my boyfriend. And I wasn't happy about that. I wasn't really happy about him going over to her house and cleaning it. And I especially wasn't happy about her saying that. But I thought, well, I have to trust him. You know, that's what I thought. I thought I have to trust him. And, you know, we have to, well, you have to trust God, really. You have to think, well, if one thing ends, hopefully something else will come up. And then so, that was it, really. And I wanted to make this video last night because I'm really upset. And I remember one time when we went over to her house for a curry, she said, asked me where I met my boyfriend. Because people get to know my boyfriend and then they think, oh, well, he's a bit of all right, you know. I'll have some of that, you know. And then so they want to know where I met him because they want to go over there and get him. But I met him at this place called Be Connected, and it was funded by the council where I live. And basically, it was only open for 6 months. It was shut down after 6 months, and then the council cut funding. And now the council doesn't fund hardly anything. The councils really cut down funding for the mental health community. So I just think that I'm really upset about this woman. She's not the friend I thought she was. If she's saying, oh, don't talk about me to these people, even sending him a text message. She sent him a voice message one time and he let me hear it. And he said, don't talk about me to these people, us. And then yesterday she sent him a text saying she's going to be really unhappy. So obviously she doesn't want us to know her personal business. She says she's a private person. Well, I'm not going to say the things that she has done to harm herself because I don't want to make her recognizable. But it just upsets me. I'm just thinking, well, if she doesn't, I think it's because this morning she sent my boyfriend a message saying that he hopes the both of us have a lovely day. So something's just not right here. She won't speak to us on the street, but she's sending my boyfriend messages. She could send me messages. I would be a lot happier if she sent me messages instead of my boyfriend messages. And then, but I think she probably likes my boyfriend, and she doesn't want my boyfriend to know the full extent of her mental illness. But she's hurt my dyslexic friend a lot as well. Because one time my dyslexic friend went over to her house to clean, and she just said, you've got to go, you've got to go, I'm leaving, you've got to go. And she made him leave. And I asked him, I said, did that upset you when she did that? And he just said to me, what do you think? So it obviously did upset him because he doesn't have anything to do during the day. He doesn't want to be at home because his home life is so bad. So he tries to go visit people, which obviously puts a lot of pressure on me. And, but then, I just think she doesn't want my boyfriend to know the full extent of her mental illness. But it's too late. We already know. We know about the 2 times that she tried to harm herself and what she did. And so it's too late. We already know. And I just told my boyfriend, I said to him, because they say I'm mentally ill, you know, but she is mentally ill because she has harmed herself numerous times, been put in hospital, almost died. I just told myself, I said to my boyfriend, I said, if you leave me for her, I said, you need to be in Prospect Park. And that's the local mental hospital. Because if he leaves me, someone who takes care of him and does things for him and all sorts of stuff, for a woman who harms herself and isn't very hygienic, isn't very clean, then he really should be in Prospect Park. And that's what I told him. And so that's what I wanted to talk about this morning, because this friend, she's not really the good friend that I thought she was. She never was a good friend, you know. She's much more my boyfriend's friend than she is mine. But it just upsets me that she tells my dyslexic friend that he's not allowed to say anything about her to us. And I think it's because she doesn't want my boyfriend to know just how sick she is, but he already knows. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video now that I've gotten this off my chest about this friend, which I don't consider her much of a friend anymore. And I've been disappointed by a lot of people lately, and that's just one of the people that I've been disappointed by. And I'm going to conclude this video. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. Definitely, I'm making another video tomorrow because I have my dental appointment. I'm not looking forward to that at all because of all my problems. Thank you again, and goodbye.